Oh, goody.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Marvel Snap video. So today we're talking about Deadpool's Diner some more. If you were around for the original Deadpool's Diner, you might remember the community banded together to donate bubs to each other once people had finished their reward track, so others could get it done more easily. This happened mainly because the diner was just very grindy and stressful to many players, and a lot of people weren't having a lot of fun with it, so this was a way where people could still get the rewards more easily because of the community acting together. And for me, that's one of the few good memories I have of the original Deadpool's Diner. It was cool to see the community come together to overcome that task that many people weren't having fun with. Funnily enough, even though the new diner is much improved and doesn't really suffer any of the same problems as original diner, turns out there is still a way to exploit it, and that's what I'm going to be showing you here today. Now, I will preface this by saying the diner is really not grindy. It's actually, I think, maybe the most casual mode they've ever done, maybe excluding high voltage, but I think you could even argue this is on a similar level as high voltage in terms of casualness, and maybe even more because unlike high voltage, it doesn't demand you log in a certain amount of time every day to get your missions done. You can kind of take the game at your own speed. So what exactly is this exploit and how does it work? I'll have some footage up on screen of me testing it out here. Shout out to Ika over on Twitch, who is the one who brought it to my attention. I tested it out, it worked. Basically, here's what you have to do. Both you and your opponent need to snap each turn. So you can do it early. It doesn't really matter if you do it later on, but in the interest of time, you should snap on turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3. Then on turn 4, both players press retreat later. What this will result in is both players retreating. No bubs will be lost as a result of this though. Both players get out without losing any bubs. However, it does progress your little quest for getting the snaps done, which will reward you with nachos. Now, it is recommended if you're going to do this, doing it on the highest tier. If you don't know, each of the tables has a different nacho reward for getting those 3 snaps done, and the highest reward is 150 nachos at the highest up table. This is something that is going to require community knowledge to do though, unless you're constantly queuing into people you know. It is going to rely on other people being in the know about this exploit. So we have a neat little graphic here, courtesy of Smiles over on KM's Discord, and it gives us a quick breakdown for how to communicate to your opponent if you're trying to do this. You might remember with the bub donating, it was a similar thing, the Spider-Man point, fist bump, I'm losing, to communicate to your opponent, hey, I'm donating bubs. This is a similar kind of thing. On turn 1, Spider-Man point your opponent and see if they Spider-Man point back. Then each turn 1, 2, and 3, use the Thanos snap emote and snap. And then on turn 4, do the Deadpool emote to signal to retreat later. And then, assuming your opponent understands and you both do it, you will walk out of that game with 150 nachos each, while your bubs stay the exact same they were before the game. This is something I imagine they're going to patch out if it becomes even remotely popular, but this is also something that is dropping on a Friday. I don't know how long this is going to take to really pop off. Last time people picked up on it very quickly, but assuming it doesn't really become more widespread till the weekend, it's possible this could run through the weekend. It could even run through the whole event. It really depends on how widespread of a thing it becomes and how easy it is for them to deploy a patch that would nullify this. I'm guessing the way that they would do that is they'll make you lose bubs when you both retreat later, but for the time being, that is not what happens, and that makes this exploit viable. Again, it's highly recommended you get to the final table before you start doing this, as your nacho returns are just way better than all of the other tables, and it doesn't take too long playing the game to actually get to that final table. Much like the original Deadpool's Diner, it starts off a little slower, but not nearly as slow as the original, but you will get up to that final table fairly quickly since there are only 4 of them, and then once you're up there, if you see people doing this, you can engage with it too, and get a lot of nachos very quickly and easily. I've been really surprised at how rewarding this mode has been. Even without the exploit, I already had enough nachos to get the card as well as a bunch of other goodies on just day 1 of playing the mode to me, it feels like it might be the most generous mode they've actually ever done. And so even if this exploit doesn't catch on or it gets patched or whatever, it should be very easy for you to get the card as well as other stuff just by engaging with the mode normally. If you do want to engage with the mode normally, I did do a video yesterday going over some decks for the mode. And in general, I think most of the decks I had in there ended up working out pretty well. I played a lot of Mr. Negative on day one, and that did pretty good. I did want to include one other deck in this video for one that I found a lot of success with actually post-release with the Diner, and that is this Wiccan deck. So one of my reads on the Diner was that it was going to be a more combo-focused mode, because that's just kind of how the system of the Diner rewards you, is it wants you to snap when you're confident and you're going to win, and there's nothing forcing you to double your stakes if you have a bad hand. So you can gain way more from your wins than you lose from your losses. For example, on the final table, if you don't snap at all, you're losing 3K. If you win and snap 3 times, you're getting 24K. So it's very, very easy to never run out of bubs in the Diner in this current version of the mode, as long as you're relatively smart about your snapping. Because the format is very combo-centric, I wanted to see, all right, what's one of the better decks that we can play that deals with a lot of the stuff combo decks are trying to do? And Wiccan was where I ended up. The main reason for this being it has answers to a variety of combo decks, with 3 main tech cards being Mobius, Cosmic Ghost Rider, and Legion. Mobius deals with Mr. Negative, Legion deals with magic decks, and Cosmic Ghost Rider is there to deal with most other things that might need to have their text removed. Magneto acts as a really powerful surprise element for moving our opponent's cards around, or even clogging up a lane on turn 5 if we're able to get some ramp with Wiccan. Surfer First Steps gives us the ability to copy some of our powerful on reveals, most notably Wiccan and Ares. Copycat is just a good cube equity card because our opponent can't really reliably predict it, and Speed is just a really solid stat stick since this deck curves out well, and that just leaves Galactus as our main big statted final threat. This deck did really well for me, and I think if you're looking for an option to play in the Diner that isn't as combo focused, this one does a good job of being an effective mid-range deck that also has answers to many of the popular combo decks that are in the format right now. Overall, I think they did a fantastic job with reinventing the Diner here. One of the things we didn't know about that I mentioned a comment the other day was that the Diner has unique locations where there's a Deadpool location in every game. And that's something I've been a big fan of. It adds a nice bit of variety to the gameplay that I felt was otherwise lacking in this mode. So credit where credit's due, Second Dinner did a very good job with overhauling this mode, and I think they pretty successfully turned it from one of the worst modes to one of the best. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if it is weighted a little bit too generously, or they think it is weighted a bit too generously, so the next Deadpool's Diner, maybe it's not quite as generous with their rewards. We saw that a bit with Sanctum 1 and Sanctum 2. I would hope it would stay the same because it's really great, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is some iterating to find a better middle ground for them. And I also imagine that this mode is not going to make them very much money compared to the earlier Deadpool's Diners, because there's just about no reason to actually pay for bubs with gold, which is how the mode made money in the past. Not a complaint from a player perspective, but I imagine they're going to want to try and do something to incentivize people to spend some kind of resource in the mode long term. We'll see what happens with that, but for the time being, I think that the revamp of Deadpool's Diner has been an overall much needed W. So I'd like to hear from you. What do you think about the Diner so far and how it's been progressing? How do you feel about the mode and what decks have been working for you in it? That's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.